Good evening. Birmingham has moved a huge step closer to hosting the Commonwealth Games in 5 years' time. It was chosen ahead of Liverpool as the recommended city for England's bid for the Games in 2022. Officials now have to persuade the government it can afford them and the Commonwealth Games Federation that it has the best bid.
Well, its main rival appears to be Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. It's thought that it will make a formal bid to host the Games in the next few days. Michael Sept reports on what made Birmingham's bid so attractive.
This is the vision, and today it's one step closer to reality. The second city is the government's first choice for 2022.
This is a fantastic day for Birmingham. We're delighted to have been named by the government as a city to go forward for the next stage in the bid process. We believe we have a compelling bid. The government seem to be agreeing with that, and we're keen to move on now and make sure we do secure the Games for 2022.
It's not a done deal yet. Cities in Malaysia, Canada and Australia may still decide to compete for the Games, but the Birmingham bid is centred around the fact that much of the infrastructure is already here. The focal point is the Alexander Stadium in Perry Bar, where the opening and closing ceremonies will be held. It's already the home of UK athletics and will have its capacity increased from just over 12,500 to 50,000. The Barclaycard Arena will host artistic and rhythmic gymnastics, and next door at Symphony Hall there'll be weightlifting. Victoria Square will be the home of basketball. University of Birmingham is upgrading its facilities, so there'll be new squash courts and hockey pitches. Villa Park will host the Rugby Sevens. The NEC complex will host a number of indoor sports, including badminton, judo and boxing. Outside of Birmingham, netball is going to be held at the Ricoh Arena in Coventry, and Victoria Park in Leamington Spa will host lawn bowls. The only venue which is still to be built is a brand new aquatic centre in Sandwell, where there'll be swimming and diving.
The Birmingham bid was a first-class bid. The response of people in Birmingham will be amazing to the bid. And at the end of the day, this wasn't a bid just to stage a Commonwealth Games. It's about staging the best ever Commonwealth Games. London staged the best ever Olympic Games. London recently staged the best ever World Athletics Championships, and I think in a few years' time Birmingham will stage the best ever Commonwealth Games, and I'm proud to be part of it.
The government said that Birmingham's bid impressed them on financial risk, the quality of existing venues and potential sporting legacy. The bid also focused on the youthful and diverse nature of this city. That was good enough to beat Liverpool, but next up is the rest of the world. Richard Callicott coordinated Birmingham's bid for the 1992 Olympics. He's optimistic that they can get over the line.
The fact that Birmingham has never staged the Games and yet has a worldwide reputation for the staging of major sporting events, and the fact that the World Athletics have been here, which is a mainstay, I think Birmingham's in a wonderful position as long as we drive and drive, because bidding for events is a long haul.
A final decision could be made by the end of the year. By then, we could know whether the eyes of the world will fall here or on the other side of the globe in 2022. Michael Sept, ITV News, Birmingham.
So a very successful bid, and we'd like to know what you think about Birmingham potentially hosting the Commonwealth Games. Please do get in touch by Twitter, that's at ITV Central, or you can email us at centralnews@itv.com. We look forward to your views, and we'll read some of them out a little later on in the programme.
Well, normally, of course, bid cities have a lot longer than 5 years to prepare for a major world sports events like the Commonwealth Games.
Alice Key has been looking at how the city found itself in this position.
It's not the first time Birmingham have gone in all guns blazing to host an international Games.
Bring the Games to Birmingham in 1992. That's the best thing that anybody can do.
It may have been the best thing, but it wasn't what happened. The Olympics went to Barcelona instead.
Barcelona, España.
This time, the first official word we got of a bid was this time last year, September 2016.
Good evening. Birmingham will bid to host the Commonwealth Games.
The City Council announced a feasibility study to bid for the 2026 Commonwealth Games. But when the 2022 host Durban in South Africa lost the right to host the Games, The race was on to find a replacement. Over the following months, a plan was hatched, and in June this year, the bid was formally submitted to the UK government, whose financial backing is vital.
Only here is everyone a fan.
Liverpool also accelerated their plans to host the Games, and it quickly became a two-horse race. But the government could only back one to go up against the rest of the world. And today, with all the fanfare of an electronic press release, it was confirmed. Birmingham is the UK's preferred city. Still many hurdles to get over, but the first one, the major one, is cleared. Alice Key, ITV News.
We've been getting very excited about this all afternoon, actually, the prospect of Birmingham hosting the Games in 2022, but the city still has a couple of hurdles to get over first.
Yeah, it certainly does. Our political correspondent Gareth Owen joins us from London. And Gareth, is it too early to be counting our chickens?
Yeah, Sam, I noticed you've come to be the party booter, thanks for that. But you are right. All that's happened today is the government said that if there is to be a UK bid, it wants that bid to be Birmingham and not Liverpool. Still huge news, but plenty of hurdles yet. The first phase will happen in meeting rooms, about 5 minutes walk away from me, actually. The Chancellor, Philip Hammond, will have to decide whether the UK government can afford its share of putting on the Games. He's got to decide quick, though, because Birmingham and the next phase has got to submit its bid document to the organisers. That comes on the 30th of September. Now, if there are no other bidders, great, Birmingham has the Games, but we're expecting competition from at least Malaysia, so the organisers have a decision to make, and that decision could come as soon as November.
So, Gareth, what do people in Westminster think of our chances? Presumably pretty good.
Yeah, well, a few moments ago I spoke to Paul Blanchard, who is the Chief Executive of Commonwealth Games England. Here's what he thought.
The Birmingham bid is a really interesting bid in itself. It's very strong across all the criteria that the Commonwealth Games Federation assess these bids on. We know that we will have some tough international competition, and obviously we can only control what we can control, but we would be pretty optimistic and pretty confident going into that international competition.
That's Paul Blanchard, Chief Executive of Commonwealth Games England. Look, the politicians here are going no further than to say that Birmingham has a really good chance. But I've been talking to people who are familiar with the processes, and they say, look, if you're the organisers, you've already had your fingers burnt by what's happened with South Africa and Durban pulling out. You want a safe pair of hands. Birmingham has the infrastructure, and crucially, the UK government has a track record of backing these sorts of events. Just look at London 2012. So let's not count any chickens just yet, but I've heard it said more than once now here in Westminster, this is a really big day for the Midlands.
OK, Gareth, for the time being, thank you very much indeed. I'm counting chickens, and I shouldn't be.
Well, he sounded optimistic for a party pooper, I have to say.
Yes.
Now, as you saw in Michael's report, Birmingham's Alexander Stadium will be one of the main arenas if the city is eventually chosen to host the Games.
Well, our sports correspondent Steve Clamp is there for us tonight. Steve, this would be massive for lots of people, of course, but particularly massive for the people at the stadium where you are tonight.
Well, very much so. This place could be transformed if that bid finally gets through the final hurdle, and Birmingham hosts the Commonwealth Games in 2022. And one man who's been very involved with getting this bid so far to where we are, Neil Snowball. You were involved with London 2012, with the rugby in 2015. Of course, you're Warwickshire Chief Executive as well. How good was our bid, and why do you think it beat off Liverpool?
Well, I think one of the main strengths was the hard work that we did up front on the feasibility. We invested a lot of time and effort into the feasibility of all of the venues, all of the infrastructure, all of the benefits of the city, and I think that served us extremely well, so that when we were challenged by the Commonwealth Games Federation and the government unit, we came up trumps in terms of being able to demonstrate what we can do. I think also the fact that we've got a lot of good people that we've pulled together to work on this bid in a relatively short period of time. And there's, as I said, this is an important step. It's just one step, but it's a very important step, and now we move forward to hopefully get over that final hurdle.
So you've got a strong bid, but you'll need more than that to get over this final hurdle. You'll need friends in the right places all around the world to say, yeah, we back Birmingham. Have we got that?
We do. I think we have good credibility as a city. We also now combine with the UK government and also with Commonwealth Games England to put forward that final bid. We'll be working closely with them over the next few weeks. That'll be quite an impressive lineup, I should think, of people, and there's a good network of friends around the world and also with the Commonwealth Games Federation. So we'll never be complacent. There's still a lot of work to be done. But again, being here tonight and seeing these youngsters run around the track, and some of them could be competing here in 2022, is pretty exciting.
We could get it.
Very much so.
We're very hopeful here, and yes, just briefly, this place could be transformed. I think we've got an image of how it could look if the money comes in, the investment is here. It's already a decent facility, a very decent facility, but it could be a fantastic facility, one of the many benefits if Birmingham gets 2022.
OK, for now, Steve, thank you very much.
Yes, we'll have more on the bid and more from Steve a little later in the programme. We're also going to look at whether we can afford the Games, just to bring us all back down to earth again, and its potential legacy as well. But before that, let's have a look at the rest of the day's news.